Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Lane here. We are on lesson 22, the area of trapezoids. It is page 224 or page 232, depending on which edition of the instruction book you have. So let's go ahead and start with this tan square at the top of the page. It says, in art class, Swati created a trapezoid made up of smaller trapezoids that are all the same size and shape. If the height of the large trapezoid is 4 inches, and the bases measure 5 inches and 10 inches, what is the area of the large trapezoid? What is the area of one of the small trapezoids? So we can, we're going to break this up in a second, but I just want to give you a general idea of what the question is asking. It's giving us this trapezoid here in red, and it's giving us some dimensions on that trapezoid. But then it also, so it wants the area of the large trapezoid, but the question also says that there's smaller trapezoids inside, and we can see those in there. And it wants to know the area of those as well. But we're going to make it nice and easy and start with this big trapezoid. So let's read the first sentence again, just like we've talked about breaking the question apart. In art class, Swati created a trapezoid made up of smaller trapezoids that are all the same size and shape. Okay, we've got that. Moving on to the next sentence. If the height of the large trapezoid is 4 inches. I'm going to underline that. Okay. And the bases measure 5 inches and 10 inches. What is the area of the large trapezoid? So let's go to the height. We know the height is 4 inches. So when we look at this trapezoid, where would we find the height? The height is going to be the line going from the top of the base to the bottom of the base. So you can see that right there is our height. And our height is going to be 4 inches. Okay? Now it tells us that the bases measure 5 inches and 10 inches. So we have two bases, one up here and one down here. This base is obviously shorter. The top base is obviously shorter, so that's going to be our 5-inch base. Go ahead and label yours as well. And the longer base, our bottom base, is going to be 10 inches. Okay, so with this information, we can go on and find, using what we know, the area of a trapezoid, this trapezoid. So let's go to the picture it. In the picture it says you can draw the large trapezoid and label it with the information you know. And what they've done right here is exactly what we've done. They've got the height at 4 inches. And they've got both bases, a 5-inch base and a 10-inch base. Let's go to the model it. And the model it says you can separate the trapezoid into 2 triangles and 1 rectangle and label their dimensions. And that is exactly what they've done here. So we've got 1 rectangle. Everybody see that rectangle right there? Okay. So this rectangle in the middle, and I'll kind of shade it in for you, so just to make sure everybody's with me, has 2 5-inch sides and 2 4-inch sides. And we know that an area of a rectangle equals base times height. So here's our 5-inch base, and there's our height. Okay? Now, we've got these 2 triangles here, and they've already labeled these triangles for us, the bases of the triangles, as 2.5 inches. How in the world did they know that these 2 bases were 2.5 inches? Excuse me. Any ideas? Anybody know how they did that? Well, we know that the whole entire base is 10 inches. So this whole line right here would be 10 inches. And we sectioned off the rectangle, and in the section right here, we know this section is 5. How do we know it's 5? Because the top section is also 5. So in our rectangle, we're from here to here is 5 inches. So when you take 10 and subtract 5, you're left with 5. And we had 5 inches to divide up equally. So we have 2.5 inches here and 2.5 inches there. Does that make sense to everybody? I hope so. Moving on to the solve it. And the solve it says you can find areas of the triangles and the rectangles to help you solve the problem. So the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So the area of this triangle will be 1/2 base times height. And the area of this triangle will be 1/2 base times height. And then as we spoke about earlier, the area of the rectangle is going to be base times height. Okay, boys and girls, we're ready to move on to our next page, either 225 or 233, depending on which edition you have. So stick with me and we'll see if we can answer these questions. Okay, boys and girls, we are on question number 9 on page 225 or page 233, whichever book you have. And we're going to look at that first question. It says, look at the modelet. What can you say about the two triangles that are part of the trapezoid? So I'm going to bring this back to us and we're going to look at that modelet. Okay, and the question was asking us, what can we say about the two triangles that are part of the trapezoid? So here's our trapezoid. What can we say about these two triangles, one here and one here? Well, when I look at those two triangles, I notice that they have the same base, 2.5 and 2.5, and they have the same height of 4 inches. So what I would say about those two triangles is that the triangles are the same size in shape. Go ahead and write that sentence down. All right, so you should have that sentence written down as well. Let's move on to question 10. How do you know that one of the sides of the right triangle is 2.5 inches? So what it's asking us is, how do we know that we've got 2.5 inches here and 2.5 inches here? And that's what we just discussed a little bit ago. The longer base of the trapezoid is what, guys? How long is that longer base? That longer base of the trapezoid measures 10 inches. Please write that sentence down. All right, so the longer base measures 10 inches. The base of the rectangle is 5 inches. Well, it doesn't look like they give us all the room we need because we need to write a little more. And what we need to write is that to divide, we can divide the extra space up equally between the two triangles. And I'm just going to go like this. You know what I mean, right? Because we're running out of room. Let's go to question number 11. Question 11 is asking us how to calculate the area of the large trapezoid. Show your work. So in order to get the area of the large trapezoid, what is it that we're going to have to add? We've got this whole trapezoid right here. In order to get the area of this whole thing, we have 3 things that we need to add. We need to add this triangle, and the rectangle. So let's write that sentence. Add the area of the rectangle to the area of the 2 triangles. All right, so let's do that. So, looking at it again, the area of the rectangle area equals base times height. So the area of the rectangle is going to be base, which is 5, times height, which is 4. The area of our rectangle is going to be 20 inches. And I need to clarify that. It's going to be 20 square inches. So we can put rectangle equals 4 times 5, which equals 20 square inches. Okay, now let's take a look at these two triangles. So we're going to have the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So the area is going to be 1/2 times our base, which is 2.5, times our height, which is 4. So if you go over here and do a little math, 2.5 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. We put our 0 down, carry our 2. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. We come up with 100. But we have to go up, and we know we have to go move over our decimal place one spot, so we get 10.0. So the area equals 1/2 times 10, or 5. So you're going to write then, the area of the triangle is 1/2. Whoops, let's put area equals 1/2 times 2.5 times 4. And we already figured out that is 10. So we've got 2 of those, right? So which equals 10, and 1/2 of 10 equals 5. So, to make this all make sense, and this is a hard question because there's so much figuring to do, but you guys are with me, and we've got it. The area of the large trapezoid is going to be, I better write of trapezoid so we're clear. Area of the large trapezoid equals the 20 inches of the rectangle plus the 5 inches of our first triangle plus 5 inches of our second triangle, which equals 30 square inches. Is everybody following me? I sure hope so. If you had a little trouble with that, go back, play the video again, and make sure that you understand. But what we did, boys and girls, is we found the area of this rectangle to be 20 square inches. Then we found the area of this triangle and the area of this triangle, and they're the same, so we only had to find it once. And we found that area to be 5 square inches. And so you could put a little 5 in there and a little 5 in there to make sure you're clear, and 20 in there. And so what we did is we added 5 and 20 and 5, and we got 30 square inches. All right, let's take a deep breath and move on to number 12. All right, boys and girls, number 12 asks, what is the area of the small trapezoids? Show your work and explain your reasoning. So we're going to go back to this, boys and girls. And we know that we've got 30 square inches inside that red box. 30 square inches inside the red box. Let's try the red trapezoid. Now, it wants to know, how are we going to it wants to know what is the area of one small trapezoid. And so how are we going to find that out? Well, the first thing we need to do is find out how many small trapezoids are there. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So if we know we have 16 small trapezoids and the area is 30 square inches, what can we do? You guys know what to do. You know that we need to do some dividing. So let's go back. The large trapezoid is made up of 16 small trapezoids. So now we just do some dividing. We're going to end up with 30. And if you take 30 and you divide it by 16, what do you get? How many times will 16 go into 30? You guys can figure that out on your own. I know you know how to do that. All right. Your next job is to do the triad. And when you do the triad, boys and girls, you've got these two shapes, both of them trapezoids. The first thing I would do, and I'm not going to do it for you because I want you to give it a shot on your own, but the first thing I would do, ladies and gentlemen, is I would start by dividing up the area in here to rectangles and triangles. And once you have it divided into rectangles and triangles, you can easily find the area. If you have any questions, boys and girls, just give me a call, text, or email, and I'll be happy to help you. I want to make sure you understand. Please don't feel frustrated. This is one of the hardest lessons we'll have for quite some time. But if you understand this, you're doing well, and I think most of you should. Good luck. Thanks. Bye.